We live. So what is up? What's up, Cooler? What's up, JM? What's up, Oliver Biscuit? What's up, Oliver, man? Hey, I completely forgot to write you back, man. You wrote me, I completely forgot. I've been so busy with just like everything. I go, I'm gonna forget shit. What's up, ABW? Not bragging. Cooler says not bragging currently at my truck driver saving up. Not bragging currently at truck driver saving up money to be a nurse and eventually get accepted into medical school to be a surgeon. Well, go, hey, do it, man. One step at a time. Fucking do it. Do it, man. One thing that I tell you, because I really got Alan Watts was like the first philosopher that really spoke to me, right? That was the first one who really like would say shit that really caught my attention, right? And and one thing that's really starting to come back into my mind now, right, is he was talking about the process of life and raising kids or how you were raised, right? And I'm not trying to be like I'm not trying I'm not this is not going towards parents. This just goes towards humanity, right? To what we've become now. And he says, and I'm not going to get it perfectly right, but the overall gist of the story of what he says goes along the lines of when you're born, first you're completely free, right? And then you slowly learn that you have to abide by rules. You can't throw shit, you can't scream, you can't hit people randomly, right? Then you spend your whole life trying to get either trying to or being taught to get better at that, right? Then as soon as you get a little better at it, then you go off to school, right? Then you start kindergarten, then you draw and all this, or preschool, whatever you want to call it. Then you draw on, you're being taught to walk in a line because only the better kids, right, walk in lines and they learn, and the better kids know how to be quiet because they're older and they're more mature, right? So then you spend all your time trying to grow and be more mature. Then you get to that level of maturity, then you get to like first, second, third, fourth grade, and you see the fifth and sixth graders. Now you're always working to get it to where the fifth and sixth graders are, right? So then you spend your whole life trying to get better at that shit, and then and the cycle keeps continuing. You go to ninth grade, 10th grade, you see the older people going to college. And you go to college, then you chasing a good job. You finally get a good job. Then you're chasing retirement. But the whole time throughout that process, you were like no institution ever taught you how to be happy with what you are and that you are a human the whole time. You were always like we literally spent our entire lives working at becoming better, right? And we what Alan Watts he was saying in this it was a speech and it goes along the lines of we spend our whole life trying to be a candidate to be a human. Essentially, we spend our entire life in a position of being a candidate to be a human. We're never actually like if you leave it up to the world, we're never actually human. Like we're always in this chase to become human, right? And that part's really been coming back into my mind more lately. I heard that years ago, but yeah, he just says we're always on this path of everything like we're always in this path of living for tomorrow, but we're never ever in a path of living for we're never ever in like and there's never ever any real focus on living in right now, right? And it's like the only time the talks of living in right now ever happens is when people are talking about either spoiling themselves or going and just becoming a spoiled rotten piece of shit, or they go the other extreme and they just they turn into these bullshit motivational speakers 100%. It's this I wake up at 5 a.m., I run 15 miles, I read 3 books, I drink 4 raw eggs and all that shit every day. So it goes to the other extreme. Like there seems to be there's no real genuine well-rounded focus on living in the now. Like our lives are always like we're always kind of propelled to live for the future, right? And here's the thing, I'm not saying that that's it's necessarily a bad thing, But I do think for many people that can be perceived as inevitably becoming a scapegoat, right? Because here's the thing: as long like the whole concept of living for tomorrow, these are things that really need to be explained a lot more thoroughly. Because there was where there was a very huge time, and it's even still going on now in human history, that this logic works out wonderfully and it gets people trapped. It's called religion. Um, Religion. That's how they would get people to fight in wars and kill themselves and lose their lives because some people they went to some guy who told them, yeah, when you die you'll get virgins and you'll live in mist and you'll get to meet the magical creator who created everything and you'll rise. And same thing. As long as you can put it off in the future, there's this sense of there is an easy way to explain everything, right? And I think these forms of education, getting jobs, all this stuff, to the wrong mind, it's the same thing, right? Because there is no guarantees in getting a good job. There's no guarantees in retiring. I could tell you a perfect short story right now. My dad, he knew a woman who she worked and she put in, more than she ever put into her retirement, than she should have ever put in. He knew her. I didn't know her, but he knew her. He told me this story. There was a woman that he knew. She was working and she worked overtime on top of overtime. And what she did was she would put all of it into her retirement plans, right? And she had a nice amount saved up for retirement. And when she finally retired, 2 weeks later, she died. And if I'm not mistaken, she never even got to even see any of the money. The next question is, see, now here's the part where people don't. Now here's the thing about thinking for the future. See, people only think about themselves and what they get. What they need to think about is, okay, what happened to all that 401k money that you didn't get? What happened what's happening to all this social security money and all this shit? See, that's where the focus needs to be at, right? Because we're all gonna die, right? But why is it that there's no massive push to think about what happens to your retirement account when you die? What happens if you don't make a will? What's going to happen to anything when you die, right? Unless it's going to be a debt that could be put on you or somebody else, right? And nobody ever thinks about that side of it. It's always, what can I get? What can I potentially get later? There's a lot of things in life that really would require more independent thought, and it's sad that it never does. Like, well, yeah. Caught my main AD live on my birthday. Happy birthday, KWC. Like Ice Cube said, it was a good day. What's up? What's up, Mo? Yeah, man. Long time, man. What's your opinion on the Nintendo Switch 2? Uh, my opinion on the Switch 2, I was okay with everything except the price of video game for the game, the price of games. Is they're going up like $80 and $90. I was okay with everything except that. The reason why, and I think I said this a few weeks ago, the reason why I'm not okay with the price of video games is because the video game, that entire form of artwork is not worth it anymore in that context, in the context of looking at a screen. That entire form of artwork it is not, if anything, the price should come down. The reason why I say that is because, one, technology is just cheaper and easier where anybody can make video games. Two, Nintendo's not pushing any graphical leaps and bounds to try to truly get better at anything. Three, the template for virtually all video games that are out now has already been made. All these gaming companies are doing are just trying to find ways so you can't just cheat it exclusively, right? See, now old Nintendo games, Nintendo 64 games, Dreamcast games, PlayStation, those games should have been the games. If they were going to be $100, it should have been those games, because those guys were creating new forms of gaming and technology to where nobody had ever done that shit before. Mario 64, Grand Theft Auto 3. Nobody had ever done shit like that. Those games deserved it because those guys literally made that shit, right? They created that dynamic. right? I'd even say that, and even though I think FromSoft is a piece of shit, but FromSoft with the whole stamina meter and tinkering with the setup, FromSoft deserve I would say on an artistic level for motherfuckers that aren't just copy and pasting other people's shit. Those guys deserve. Nintendo don't deserve that. Not now. Not for what they trying to get get it from Mario and that shit. That's the same shit. I mean, it's a little cute and colorful, but nothing's really, you know what I mean? I think it's bullshit. And that's my own that's my biggest issue with it. Um, because it's always disgusting how Nintendo always tries to they always try to push they always it's disgusting how Nintendo always try to push. Yeah, we're gonna re-release something in fucking in 4K and all this shit, motherfucker. Like, if anybody has had an emulator, they can do that shit at home. That's nothing to sell. You outdated, Nintendo. You selling low quality graphics updated to 4K. Like, I could do that on a MacBook, dude. What the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck out of here with this shit. Like, it's old shit. Reminds me of Ashton Hall. I don't know who that is, but thinking of getting my MBA. Don't want to study another 2 years though. With a degree, okay. Well, in the U.S., I don't know how it is in the U.S., but Europe is packed filled with um, art degrees. You know, MBAs. Okay, I'm so far removed from the market now. I can't really speak what an MBA can do. But I do remember MBAs had gotten a little popular for a while when I was younger. And I was telling my spouses in the U.S., MBAs had gotten popular mostly because it sounded like NBA. Okay, because motherfuckers who was getting ready to do something with it for real, they already had the connections from the start. That wasn't for. I'm not saying you're one of these people, but these degrees were not for. Like, a degree like an MBA when I was younger was really one of those degrees like art history, like, or an archaeologist. Like, those were degrees that you got because your family was already deep into that world, or you had connections already in that world. So all you needed was a degree to go, in there for whatever reason. Like, these degrees, like art history and medieval artwork from the 1700s, whatever, these some silly shit like that. These degrees are not for regular working class people. I'm not saying that's what you are, but it kind of fits that from how I grew up. That was the my perspective on it. But I mean, NBA. I mean, yeah, go for it. Because and in Europe, Europe is really. Here's the thing: if you're in America, if you think women getting these liberal arts degrees in America is bad, dude, that's all Europe is. It's just bullshit liberal arts degrees. Very little science and tech, and very little, very little. It's packed filled with people doing art history, painting, sculpting in college. It's tons of that shit. It's overflowing out here. That's what when you brought up going back to school, that's what I thought of. But I mean, do it. I mean, I don't see anything. You definitely won't regret it. That's the thing about education, man. The thing about education is you never see when people get older in life. I've noticed this. Like, you never hear people regret not getting education. I mean, I'm sorry. Wait, you never. Yeah. Wait, you never hear people regret getting education. If anything, people will always look back and say, "Wow, I wish I could have done that when I was younger." Right? Like, you never hear somebody like truly regret, like completely 100% truly regret education unless they went to like a real shitty school for a real shitty program that wasn't accredited. You never hear somebody who went to an accredited university that's a legitimately accredited university. That's another thing Europe is very good at tricking people with, and getting people to come over here to study. But if you get a legitimately accredited university, you never hear people completely regret that shit. You never hear people completely regret how old they get, right? Michael Jackson will come back and be like, hey, yeah, that was pretty gangster, man. Yeah, congratulations. Right? And he was Michael Jackson, right? You see what I'm saying? Like Elvis Presley, the motherfucker. If you can, if you walked up to Elvis Presley or Michael Jackson or whoever the fuck, right, and said, "Yeah, man, I just graduated from college last week," they would have to stop. Be like, "Wow," it don't really matter what it was in, right? Like that's pretty cool, right? It's one of those things people never regret. So I always advocate education, and the older I'm getting, the more I do advocated. Like it's like almost every week I see it more clear. What's up, Super? What's up, man? Well, yeah, I'm in school now. Actually, I just wrote Charles University here in Prague about. I'm gonna read that in a minute, Mo. You say you regret going to school? Okay, I'll read that in a minute. But I just wanted to share real fast because I'm doing a master's in IT, now, and I just wrote Charles University because I've always wanted to study botany, and they have a botany master's degree here, and I just wrote them, and they wrote me back, but I have a few questions for them because I looked on the website, and the website said that they wanted some type of a science degree within the last 5 years, which is understandable. And I haven't had a science class in over 10 years now. So I want to talk to them and see if there's anything I could do again. But let me read this. Mo says, I regret going to school since my degree was useless and getting jobs that paid well. I would have chosen a different college and gone after 23 since you can get more financial. Yeah, that's true. You get a lot more financial. Yeah, because once you turn 23, you are technically independent. So for those of you who don't know, because other people maybe, it could probably help them out. So I like to over explain these types of things. So the reason why Mo says he wishes he had gone after 23, I'm going to assume, but I do know the general situation of that. So in America, when you go to college and most people don't have $60,000 laying around to go to universities, right? So you got to take financial aid out. Well, and if you're under the age of 22 or 23, you are automatically under your parents' income, right? And if you're in, and so automatically you are not an independent. You are automatically a dependent. And unless your parents were like very poor, you don't get anywhere near the same amount of financial aid that you should get for real to survive all right. So which is it's loan money, but it is what it is. It's just the reality of the situation. So once you turn because I think when I went my financial aid was never it was never enough. It's never going to be enough because I was under my dad's income, right? So when I turned, yeah, like Mo said, when you turn 23, now you can finally um, um, register in financial aid as an independent, and it's all on you. So you get like a lot more money for financial aid, that which makes it a lot easier because it's just the reality of the situation in the U.S. with that. And I don't know if you want me to share with it because I remember what you went to school for. I don't know if you want me to share it, but we talked about it a lot. I remember we talked about it on a live stream a while back because it's one of those degrees that sounds good, but in reality, like with just an undergrad in it, it's like getting a degree in archaeology. Like you've got to already have connections in a higher up area with that, or like you're gonna have a hard time finding a job. I knew a whole lot of people with those degrees who were like, fixing tables in restaurants and shit like that for years. I would put that degree in the same boat of like a bachelor's in psychology. I would put both of those, and unless you're a pretty little white girl, ain't nobody gonna really hire you for that. That's just how it is. Unless you're a cute little white girl with a tight little ass on you and looking like a cheerleader type, it ain't nobody here. You gotta know somebody. You gotta do something. So I get your point. Say, what's the cost of university where you are at compared to the U.S.? Well, I'm in university, so I'm doing online school from the U.S. Because because it was just easier for the VA to do that instead of try to find it. Because here's the thing with the VA and my program, I'm in the Chapter 31 program, so it actually let me see if I can find that list. There's a list, and I didn't even know this until recently. Let me see if I can find this. There's a list of schools and then programs at the school that are actually verified. Hang on, Chapter 31, school verification. There's an actual list, and I don't even know. Here it is. This is it right here. And I didn't even know this was a thing. I had just found this out talking to my VA counselor now. Hang on. Can you guys see that? Is it even? Because my screen is smaller. I don't know if that's big enough where you can see it. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit more. So there's lists, and it was just too much of a pain and hassle. I just didn't feel like honestly, I just didn't feel like going through this list. So I don't know if because it still looks fucked up on my screen, but I'm on this small Streamlabs screen. Let me see if I can. Still looks fucked up. So yeah. So you see where it says, school name. So these are just some schools in Alaska Career College. And these are the programs. So like at this school, the associates in business administration, and human resource management, that's verified, and it's a city, state, Anchorage, and you can just go down the list for all these schools. And there's more because these are not Berkeley's approved VRRAP schools. Oh, this is GI Bill, but it should be about the same. So you could just go down this list and find like your school and then the program of what's actually approved, right? And I did because I want to do health administration, and I was and I'll tell you the school I got rejected at. The first school I tried was I think it was South Florida, Southern Florida University, or something like that, because they had an online program for health administration. And I tried there first, and I sent them all my transcripts and applied and all that, and they rejected me. That was the first time I had ever gotten a rejection letter for in any way at a university, right? So I called them. I was like, "Yo, what's the problem? What did I do wrong? Is there any way we could talk about this?" I said, "Yeah, we could set up a meeting. We could say what the problem was." And so we did. And I set up the meeting with them and talked to them, and they said, one that because my resume had Czech Republic on it, so I said, oh well, no, I'm an American citizen, like I'm not Czech, blah blah blah. And so okay, and then they said the other part was I hadn't taken like with this school in Czech Republic, I hadn't taken a science class in the last like three years based off my they said my transcripts were all great, but I hadn't taken a science class in like over 10 years. So they said I would have to take a biology course so they would know I can keep up with some of the terminology in the program before they would let me in. I was like, look, I'm just not getting ready to do all that. And I just went to some little shitty, online school and they let me in immediately. And it's approved. So like, I guess I didn't feel like messing with any of that. But yeah, so so if you're curious, if you're in the military, if anybody's in the military and you this is going to be an important thing for you to have. So can you see the website name? It's been hang on. Well, this is old. This is 2022, current as of October 2020. This is old, but it's still going to be this general thing. So if anybody is in here is in the military and you think about going to school, there is a specific list of schools and then programs within that school that are actually verified for the military to pay for. But to answer your question, KWC, what's the cost of university where you are at compared to the U.S.? So let's look it up. This is the course. This is the program I want to do now. Botany. Now, here's the thing. In Europe, and this is what I tell people, like my friends who come here to visit me from the U.S. who's never been over here, in America, you can pretty much like in America, we follow the internet to a T, right? If you see it on the internet, it's true, right? In America, but in Europe, they're not so. You can't just depend on the internet. So I just want to just throw it out there first. But this is Charles University. This is the main university in Czech Republic. It's Charles University. No, yeah. This is the main university in Czech Republic. Now, the I looked like a year ago, and it was like I think it said it was like $10,000. Now here's the thing: if you study in Czech, yeah. Now I had now this is true. This part right here is true. If you know how to speak Czech, then tuition is free. Now, if you don't know how to speak Czech and they got to teach it to you in English, which English is usually always going to be like the second language that they'll. Why's my you usually got to pay. So the tuition fee median is 6,000 euros, which is about $6,000. What's up, Snide Feather? It says, Yo, AD, in my country, feminism has taken over. Women want to be strong and independent, and at the same time, they want that mythological men they had made in their feminist head. How and when do women realize they have made a huge mistake believing feminism? Usually once they get older. Once they get older and none of that bullshit is getting them anywhere. Once they start hit, okay, what? Usually when they start to regret it, it's going to be around 36. around 36 years of age is when they start to regret it. Right? Because that is once they start hitting 30s and 35s and they still don't have a kid or family or a consistent man because they're too strong and independent. That's usually when they start to regret it because it becomes very clear that they've just run out of time and they will not be able to compete with the cute younger girl. So the only thing they can do is go back to the cute younger girl and try to spread more feminism into her to destroy her. It's really a sad cycle. Feminism is truly feminism itself is Mean Girls. Feminism itself is literally Mean Girls. It's Mean Girls to the highest degree. That's exactly what it is. It's really sad. People who make $35K a year getting their checks garnished, they definitely regret college. Oh yeah, I seen that where they stopped what student loan deferments or whatever. I seen that somewhere. They were talking about that. That's wild. That's wild. See, one thing, and now another thing about my life that I wanted was I want international options. I was talking with somebody, I can't remember who, and and you know, and I brought up one thing that that I find sad, right? Because I'll be 39 this year, and I have international options, right? So no one country can completely, fuck me over because my options are spread out amongst different countries. And on top of that, then I'd have connections in other countries outside of those countries, right? So I have worldly options. So with this, so let's say the situation with the student loan, like because I know some friends of mine who, I remember one friend of mine, I mean, he has a beautiful house, beautiful car, but he told me, he said, Wendell, like he told me straight up, he said, I'm gonna die owing somebody $10,000. Like he knows it. He just gave up. Like fuck it. He told me straight up. He said, Wendell, I'm gonna die owing people just tons of money. He just doesn't care anymore. Now, but now he's a case that where he just said fuck it and just learn how to play with the system and work with it. Um, One thing looking back, right? Like I find like one when I look back at people who I grew up with and I know back in Ohio, right? And they never got out of Ohio, the city, the zip code, the county, whatever, right? They never got out that area. And and they, of course, they slowly start to age, get older, and they're working and blah blah blah. And next thing they know, they're 30, 35, 40, and they don't have any world ops. Like they're just stuck in that area. They don't know what to do. They can't do anything. All they know is going back and forth to work in Hamilton County, Ohio, right? That's all they know. They don't they like there's no sense of worldly options, maneuverability, thinking outside the box, none of that. They're too afraid at this point, they're too afraid to think outside the box because they're afraid they're going to lose what little they've had managed to hold on to over the time, right? And that's one thing. Like I'm happier with my life is that like I have the ability to get up and move. Like if one country fucks up, well, I'll just go switch over to another country. If that country fucks up, I just switch over to another country, right? And if that country fucks up, I go make some friends somewhere else and tell me I know some shit over here, there, and like I have that versatility. So like say, let's take this for example. With a situation like this, that would not bother me much. But I know friends of mine, like I know they probably got wrecked by that. Like with the student loan, they starting to pay people. The people got to start paying it back now. I know because that whole situation, the education system is just completely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It really is. But yeah, biology. Never get that degree. I applied for medical school, didn't get in. Those 5 years were wasted. Should have a backup plan. Yeah, biology by itself. I didn't want to say a degree, but yeah, biology by itself is not a good degree to get. Is essentially life is essentially just life history kind of thing. You really can't do like a lot with just biology. Like I will put it in the same boat as archaeology. I will put those two in the same. Because here's the thing, biology you will know enough in a biology program to where like you could read and understand a decent amount of like a sewage system and stuff like that, or you can figure it out. But like you won't know enough to actually go and work at like a plant doing that. You know, and if you do, and if there is one that's want to hire you, well, they these places are they get 1,000 applications, hundreds of applications a day. So it's like, yeah, biology by itself is that's one of the science degrees that sounds good, but is really not a good degree to get. When I was doing biotech, and of course you had to come across biology. You had to come across biology and chemistry in a degree like biotech. The chemistry students were always good. Like in my field, in the chemistry field, like okay, the jobs that I know of, the people who I knew in the STEM fields, in these more like science, like earthly sciences kind of field, not like technology science, like computer science and computer engineering, not these kind of things. I'm talking like the earthly science, like geology and these kind of things. Out of everybody I knew, um, as long as it has some kind of chemistry in the name, and I'll go ahead and throw in mechanical engineering because I knew a lot of mechanical engineers. We all had jobs, including my degree field, but the biotech field. Everybody who I knew had either they had a job lined up 6 months before they graduated college, or they had jobs far within 6 months of graduating, whether it was associates or a bachelor's. That's how it was. Now the biology field, I don't know. I didn't even the biology field kind of trickled off back to like to the music department. in their prospects of getting jobs. Like they all like in the theater majors. Like the biology when it came to actually getting the job, the biology field like fell off into like theater majors and and actors and singers and people who played instruments. Like they just kind of like died off and ended up working at restaurants for the next 5 years. Right. And I'm not saying that to bash them. I'm just saying that as a reality to what happened. Um, from where I was at in Ohio, that's what played out. And the mechanical engineers, they all went off and got great jobs. My job was all right. I think the first job I got when I got out of college, I worked at a fiber plant, putting fiber in food, which is actually a lot more to it than how I just said it. But the first job I got, I was getting paid like 18 an hour, but this was like, 2013 or something like that. So that was good money. That was real good money back then. I think it was like $16 or $18 an hour or something like that back then with an associate's degree. And I remember when I got my first check, you know what I mean? And this was, I remember I got my first check and I couldn't believe how big the check was. Um it was like 16 or 8. It was like 16, 18, something like that an hour. And I remember I was talking to my brother and he asked me how much I was getting paid. And I told him, and my brother said, I would kill to make that much money. But I was working at a fiber plant, long story short, any fiber you eat in pasta is just grounded up paper. And any pasta you eat, any fiber that comes in pasta that you're eating comes from paper. It comes from grinded up paper. Hang on, let me put this. Oh, that's why it's all the way at the bottom. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna do. Yeah, I seen the request. Yeah, I did see it. I'm gonna do it. Thanks for the $5 and thanks for the dollar, Snide Feather. Yeah, I'm gonna do it for sure. But yeah, anybody if they did chemistry, or if it had chemistry somewhere in it, they were gone. They all ran off and was posting pictures on Facebook. They was working at some lab and all this. Like when I worked at the fiber company, I worked in the microbiology lab. I worked in the two departments. I worked in microbiology. My son put some. I got some chocolate pudding. I hope. Yes, chocolate. It's not poop. My son was in here and he smeared some pudding on his table and I just touched it. But yeah, yeah. So yeah, I worked in the microbiology department and the chemistry department, and neither one of them are clean or smell good. Well, the chemistry part didn't smell bad, but the microbiology always smells because it's microbiology. There's gonna be life at some point that has to stay warm, unless you're working in like a frozen lab with shit and you got thawed out. But yeah, and all I did was just measure. I remember because the good part about going to school for biotech was I remember when I walked in the lab at that job, I walked in there and I literally knew it was just filled with like equipment for different shit, and I knew what there was only two things I didn't know what they were, but I knew what everything else was in there and how to use it. So that was the good part about my degree program at Sinclair doing biotech. When I got out that program, I knew how to use most of those measuring utensils they had. It was like one or two things I think I had to ask the guy like I had never seen before. And because that was when that Rihanna song came out. Bitch better have my money. Like it was nothing else like it that ever came out on the radio. And that's when that song came out. That was when I was working there. Because we was playing on the radio. And it gives you and I would switch from the chemistry lab to the microbiology part. Because the microbiology part, we would just by the time I would get there, the samples were already there. And you would just have to go through all the samples to make sure nothing dangerous was growing in the samples. There could be things growing in it, but it couldn't be like something like specifically dangerous things. And that's what I did, and I hated it. And as far as I can remember, I don't think I ever did another job in bio in anywhere near a science field because it's not like how it looks on TV. You know what I mean? When you see these like these jobs on TV, in these little in these you know what I mean in these dramas and shit. They're always like perfectly clean and you know what I mean and all that shit. Now these jobs it smell terrible. You know what I mean? Like it's not like how it looks on TV. So I never did it again. Um, at some point you'll come across something that smells, or like something that smells, or it's like humid, or because it's just the nature of what it is. But I wouldn't do it again. I wouldn't work. I never. I don't think I ever worked back in that field ever again after that. Yeah, I'm gonna do. Yeah, I mean, my daughter ballet teacher goes to Duke. She said her tuition is 90. Yeah, that sounds right for something like Duke. Yeah, my daughter ballet teacher goes to Duke. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, Duke is one of those school. Duke is one of those schools like that. Like Duke is one of those schools. Like from what I know about Duke, I remember the basketball team used to always kick everybody's ass back in the day. I don't know if Duke's basketball team is still that good, but they would always had some good basketball players. But those schools, from what I know, and I don't know a lot, but what I do know, those schools either get people who already had family to work in these fields and they get in them jobs, or they get the regular working class kids who go in there and rack up this tuition and be fucked up the rest of their life. It's usually one of the two. I've never heard many stories of people just kind of average, completely average, making it by out of a school like that. Because here's the thing: the big problem with these Ivy League schools in America, from what I know about them, is it's a weird situation that happens, right? And this is just my experience. But what tends to happen is when people go to these schools, like they don't leave the area. So it weirdly works backwards how I would have thought it would have worked. Like if somebody were to go to Duke and then they move out to like Oklahoma, right? Like they would be on an educational level, they would be a god to like Oklahoma or Ohio, right? But they don't. They stay in the area where I don't even know where the fuck Duke's at. It could be in Oklahoma. I don't know. Well, you get the point I'm trying to make is the people who get these degrees from these Ivy League schools tend to end up staying in that city, right? And the whole thing really kind of works backwards in how I thought it would have really worked. Because like they get attached to the area, now they want to keep up with that group of people and all that. When in reality, like if they went to like these, I knew one guy. Now he didn't go to an Ivy League school, but he went to UCLA and he came out to Ohio and immediately got jobs as a professor at any college he wanted. Didn't even he had his choice. Like I said, like he would go. He did that, but UCLA's not. I don't think it's an Ivy League. I'm pretty sure it's not an Ivy League school. But he went to UCLA and came out to Ohio and was a god. That's how it plays out, right? But the weird part about like I said, with these is Duke. I don't know Duke's Ivy League. So I can't remember Duke's Ivy, but Duke is a well-known school to say the least. It's like these people don't go to like the middle of nowhere and become a god. You know what I mean? Like it's either they just go 100 or nothing in the area. Just got a passport. Word on. I just seen the GTA trailer. The second one. And you know what? I don't even care. Like I'm gonna buy it, but I was like, that's. I mean, I just wasn't. I maybe I'm getting older, but I mean, the first trailer was cool. The first trailer had me like, oh wow, like yeah, I can't wait to see that shit. But this trailer, no, I mean, I liked how it looked in the term of being more realistic. Like, it's not they not super rich or anything like that. They just regular motherfuckers that look like they in Florida or something like that, surviving. I like that, but I mean, I think my tastes are just changing. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's me. But I wasn't excited for it, to be honest. I was like, oh, I mean, I'm still gonna buy it because it's Grand Theft Auto. No matter how much it costs, I'm going to buy it. The only two games I want on console are Grand Theft Auto and was it Phantom Blade Zero. Those are the only two games like I really want. Like I wanted Spider Man until you had to play as Miles Morales, and just I just don't care for Miles Morales. I went on that rant about 2 months ago. I think I never liked Miles Morales. I always knew what he was from the beginning, and it takes away from the whole Spider Man experience of being alone and trying to figure shit out. If anything, Spider Man doesn't work very well with partners. That's what Spider Man. He was always a loner, and they're trying to make him have Spider Boy on his side. I just no, it's terrible. Yeah, North Carolina. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It looks like seems like GTA 5 was a different story. Yeah, the second GTA trailer didn't show anything he didn't show in the first trailer. Yeah, I wasn't excited for it. I seen it. And I was like, eh. I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna get in the car and drive. I'm sure I'm gonna shoot a gun. You know what I mean? Like, but you know what I play all the time? I play simulation racing games. Um, and right now, now Project Cars 2 isn't exactly a simulation racing game, but it's good enough. And I'm hooked on Project Cars 2 right now on in the driving in the career mode. I'm hooked on it, and I just moved up to Formula, and it's because I like tinkering with the cars to get the setups to work right for a race. And that's what I end up spending most of my gaming time on simulation racing and and Metroidvanias. Those are the only two games that can hold my attention anymore. Hopefully, Phantom Blade Zero will because I just the art style of that looks pretty cool. I just really enjoy that art style. I wanted that Black Myth Wukong game, but the people just said the performance was so bad. On like one thing that just I can't get past with performance in video games is if the frame, even with my live streams, as soon as I see that frame rate start to fuck up, I can't. I have no patience for it. I'll just throw it away. I'd rather watch 480p as long as it's smooth instead of deal with 1080p that's skipping. That's just how I can't do it. And Phantom Blade Zero, but yeah, Black Myth Wukong, the performance was supposedly so bad that I just don't even want to risk it. I let them fix that shit over the next few years. Oh, let me go find the request. Here it is. Oh, okay.
Are you single and
Oh,
ready for
yes.
a real, lasting connection? Stop waiting. Start preparing for the love you deserve. Welcome to Singles Seeking Soulmate, school the ultimate space for growth-minded singles who are serious about love, commitment, and building a future with the right partner. Men and women 25 plus looking to be relationship ready. Those with a growth mindset, eager to become their best self. Serious about commitment and marriage, financially stable and employed. Open to networking, friendship, and possible romance. Join Singles Seeking Soulmate School today and step into your best love-ready self. Contact me today for a free 30-day trial of school.
Good morning.
You know, I've been thinking about this. You say five starts at 5:42. I'm gonna just skip it. Um, 5:40. One real quick. One thing I don't, and one thing I also maybe it's me just getting older, but another thing I don't get is this constant. I mean, I when I was younger, I guess I definitely fit this, but as I got older, like I just prefer to be alone, man. Like people are like so worried. You know what's really disgusting is like when it's an older woman. that's talking about her relationships. You know what I mean? And falling in love. Like, I think that whole situation of falling in love in relationships are for people, under 25. You know what I mean? Like, are we in a relation? And it's even weirder like when the women get older and talk and they still talking about relationships and it's like trying to go out. I tell my spouse all this. I tell her all the time. I tell her this shit. It's like, look, at some point you just get too old to be walking around talking about something, you trying to find the one. You too old for that. You okay? Looking for love and all that shit is ridiculous. At past a certain age, I say looking for love is like is okay. Looking for love at 30 and above is like blaming your parents for what's wrong with you, right? Like you too old. Okay, what happened happened, is over, is done. Move the fuck on. All right, blaming your parents or your family or some shit for what happened to you and why you're like that and you can't grow past it and all that. You too old. It's not cute. It's not funny. It's not admirable. You're fucking pathetic. All right, that's what all your friends think. That's what your family thinks. That who don't want to say it to your face. They all thinking. They all saying is they just don't want to tell you. Okay, once you get older, it's not cute anymore. Okay, it's like dealing with people trying to say they got bad anxiety and all this shit like that. That shit's not cute. It's not cute. Looking for love. Okay, you too old. Looking for love is look for somebody to do something with. Look for somebody to hang out with. But looking for love. This whole online dating shit, and people just so. Because she gets mad at me when I talk like this, because she is one of these people looking for love. Because see, here's the thing: when people say they looking for love, what they really mean to say is what they're really when you hear a grown ass when a grown ass adult say they looking for love, what they're really saying is I'm a child and I want I want to find somebody who entertains me. That's what they're really saying. Talking about looking for love. I want to find the one. I just want to be in a happy relationship. Look, you got to go in there and just get to know somebody. Love doesn't work that way. Love doesn't work that way. Going out looking for love. When you go out looking for love, you're looking for your own mental delusion personified. That's what you're looking for. You're not looking for another person. You're looking for another person to fit your delusion. Okay. Love doesn't work that way. Okay. For somebody who listens to music, okay, love is like finding your favorite song or some shit like that, right? So let's use Michael Jackson as an example, right? Let's say Michael Jackson released a new album and I ain't even listened to it yet. And I'll go and I walk into that. I walk into that album saying to myself, yeah, I'm looking for my new favorite song. I'm looking for it. What's my new favorite song gonna be? Okay. Art doesn't work that way. If a person truly likes artwork, it doesn't work that way. Art hits you when you're not even looking for it. That was it happens in video games. It happens with movies. The best movies that you ever seen were the movies that you didn't even see coming. The best music that you ever heard, it came at a point where you didn't even know who the artist was. You weren't even expecting it. You just heard it, was like, oh shit, like what is that? See, that is how love works. Right? Now, I'm not saying you couldn't already like Michael Jackson and he comes out with a song and it coincidentally becomes your new favorite song. But genuine discovery does not work. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go out here and find a treasure. I got a shovel. I'm just gonna start digging, and I'm looking for a treasure. Like, no, anything that you find now, okay. I think that's a better scenario. Let's say a person's going out there looking for treasure, right? And they get their shovel and they go, yeah, I'm gonna go out here and I'm looking for treasure. And they're gonna go digging, right? They're not looking for treasure. They're looking for something that's gonna fit their delusion, that'll play that role of treasure in their head. Right? Whether it's gold plated dog shit or whatever the fuck, right? They'll just jump to that conclusion and convince themselves. Love is the same way. It doesn't work that way. Love doesn't work how, there's these apps and all this shit tries to, they gonna sell it to you. Cause a dumb motherfucker's gonna go out there in the world with a shovel, talking about something. I'm gonna go dig looking for treasure. Just like a dumb motherfucker's gonna get on an app looking for love. You're looking for delusion. That's what you're looking for. This is why I can't watch Kendra Dree anything like that is like people are looking for their own delusion. They're looking for a dream to be sold to them. They're looking for heroin. Okay. They're looking for a drug. They're looking for whatever. They're not looking for what they think they're looking for. Now, I'm not saying don't go on the Kendra G show or the Pop the Balloon show. If you was just out there just looking for somebody, you can possibly hang out with. Like go out there and look for people you can actually hang out with. That's the route you go, right? You can actually hang with and talk to. You got something in common with and all that, right? That is the route to finding somebody. And even then, you can find somebody who you have everything in common with, and you two just don't click, right? Going out looking for love is so much more of a hassle. I don't think it's worth it. And she gets mad at me all the time when I talk like this because she is one of those people who go out who. But it's okay it's more okay when women are like this because they're just big children. But she gets mad at me when I talk like this because she wants to go out and make a dream. She wants to make everybody play along with a dream in her head, and is not real. Like for example, like she'll cook something for the baby, right? Well, he's 3 now, but she'll cook something for him. And then low key get mad when he don't want to eat it. Right? He don't want to eat. This is what it is. Just because you went in the kitchen and prepared this dinner for an hour and you come out and try to feed him, he don't gotta like what you cook. It just is what it is, bro. It's life. Now, if you love him, you can accept that. Like, there's differences if he just don't want to eat or he's being just a stupid kid who pretends like he don't want to eat. It gets to the point where he genuinely, okay, I would just call it off. He don't want to eat. Just call off the whole dinner. He don't want to eat, right? I'll take the L, right? She can't do that. So now she getting all depressed and fucked up because he don't want to eat what she cooked. This ain't about him. It's about her. It's about her and that delusion. It's got to be how I want it in my head. And then I got to be Mr. Evil that has to explain it to her. Right? The logic of the situation. Now I got to be evil daddy now who comes in and be like, look, call it off. It's over. He done. Again, because I get it. Kids do that thing where they don't want to eat at first. And you tell them to eat. And sometimes they eat, and then they'll eat the whole goddamn bowl. There's other times where you could tell, okay, yeah, no, he just doesn't want to eat, kind of thing. So I'm not ignoring that part. You have a convo and feel like you didn't waste your time. But at some point, you're gonna waste your time. That's just part of the path. I saw Vivarium by accident. Now it's my top 10. I don't even know what that movie is. Now I want to Google that. Let me Google that real fast. Vivarium. It's a fantasy horror. It was produced in Ireland, then Belgium. where was this movie actually made? I'm kind of curious now. Cause I could just watch it because I'm trying to read it in Czech, and my Czech isn't like super great. International co-producer. So where was it? I'm trying to figure out where it was actually made. Here it's in English now, so I can actually read it fluently. It was released in Ireland. Okay. Huh. But yeah, that's how love works. What's up, Jen? So yeah, let's start this. Okay, now it says live. It said reconnecting for a while. I'm on Wi-Fi. I should have plugged it into the router. People in the U.S. are going crazy over the new Sinners movie. Have you heard about it? I heard about. I seen. I did like the trailer. Um, I did like the trailer because I do like that kind of like religious. Those kind of like those creepy religious kind of things. Um, I did like the trailer. I care if I did like the trailer. I just kind of forgot about it, to be honest with you. But it looked good. It did look good from the trailer. I'll give it that. And I'm not a Michael B. Jordan fan, but it did. I'm pretty sure he's in it, if I'm not mistaken. But I did like it. I like the trailer. There's a phenomenon in the U.S. where young adults are going no contact with parents online. Have you had any clients with this situation? No, I don't even know what that means. No contact. Young adults are going no contact with parents online. Maybe I'm not reading it right. Oh, what is this? Okay, let me go. Let me read this because I don't know what that. Okay. Yeah, this goes into what I was talking. No, I haven't had anybody. I don't even know what that is. Till you just sent that. But I was telling my spouse actually last night before we had sex. I was telling her how I was saying like because we were talking about people posting to Instagram and posting body pics, with AI and how good it's getting. And I was saying like no, like I think it's all going to balance out by the time like our son gets older because you got to think like my son's 3 years old now, and Chat GPT is where it is right now, and he's 3. So all he's ever gonna know by the time he gets up and moving, and you know what I mean, and he's fully functional, all he's gonna know is these AI things, right? And but here's the thing, I think that dating is gonna eventually balance itself out because it's gonna get to, and I told her this last night. I think it's gonna get to a point where like because if you open up any web browser on a desktop or anything like that, there's going to be like a little link to have an AI just pop up on the side now, which I called that long time ago. Like these little um, home assistant devices, all of them are going to everything's eventually just going to be AI, where it's going to be like Jarvis from Iron Man. Like it's just getting to that point. But dating is going to get to a point where where it's going to get to a point where online dating won't even be as terrible. And I think the whole dating market is going to eventually balance out thanks to AI because it's going to get to a point where you won't even have to swipe on the phone anymore. It's going to get to a point where the apps are going to come out where okay, your cell phone is going to get to a point where your cell phone is just going to have some kind of AI either built into it or communicating to like a headquarters of an AI where it's going to keep your entire profile of everything you Google, search, the apps you use, these kind of things. So it knows your personality and what you like and what you don't like, right? Everybody's phone is going to get to, everybody's devices are going to get to that point. And then it's going to get to where when you want to date, you won't have to swipe through any pictures unless you just want to. But it's going to get to a point where you just want to say, hey, I want a job. I want a spouse. I want whatever. And your AI is just going to go out and reach out and connect to other phones' AIs. They'd be like, hey, are you interested in a date? Are you interested in a new employee? Are you interested? My person does this, and this. And then their AI will talk like, hey, we're looking for this, and this. And next thing you know, you're just going to get a text message say, hey, look, you got a date next Friday at 3 p.m. at the pizza shop. You want to go? You'd be like, yeah, sure, or no, I'm cool. Like, or can you reschedule? And it's gonna. So with that being said, it's gonna take out all that depression of actively trying to find a job. You see what I'm saying? Actively trying to find a person, all the depression of just constantly swiping and never hearing back and all that silly shit like that, right? It's going to take out all of that. And I think that's where my son's going to come up. That's what he's going to have. He's not going to know the days of going on online dating and swiping and getting ghosted and not getting matches for weeks or months and, all that crazy shit. And that's going to, I think that will significantly change the route that we're going. That had nothing to do with what you brought up. But to go back to what you brought up, the no contact thing, right now, with the no contact, from what I didn't even look deeply into it, but what I'm assuming it is kids are getting more attention from it's easier for teenagers to reach out. So they don't have to like sit around and wait for their parents and or actively rebel against their parents. Teenagers, it's easier for them to either reach out to just an AI or to go find other kids online in some group, one of those apps somewhere, to reach out to them. They don't need to sit up in the house anymore. Because we had hit okay, in the evolution of technology, we did hit a real, what's up, Gains Day? We did we in the development of technology, like we hit a really cold point where where even though we had a technology, people, it wasn't super common for people to actively reach out. It was still like these things like Reddit and shit like that were really still for like rejects. Like this shit didn't become really mainstream. I think COVID probably boosted all that. They're reaching out through social media apps and this kind of thing. COVID was probably a big player in all of that. But now I think but after that push, it kind of converts to now, okay, now people can literally live their entire lives through their phones or their smart devices now, right? They can now, if you really want to, you can rig up to your life to where you can live completely through your phone alone. You don't need anything else. You can reach out, talk to people, call people, find jobs, order food, anything. Find places to live, book flights. You can do everything. We are officially at a point where you can do everything with a smartphone. Most things. You can do everything or set up anything with a smartphone. Yeah, basically cutting their parents off, and they're like, yeah, cutting their parents off. I mean, it would happen, I think, regardless. And then that's usually where like drugs or diving into some hobby hardcore would take over. But now I think everything shook up because again, technology's moving so fast. Let me do this video because I'm talking too much. It's 8:40 now. Let me do this video.
Here's the reality, y'all.
Okay.
If I'm being honest, 90% of y'all, 80 to 90% of you all refuse to date on your level. You refuse to accept that you ain't as good as you think you are. You refuse to accept that you don't look as good as you think you do. Okay? That's the biggest issue. And women are suffering from it. Men are suffering from it. Okay? Men refuse to stay in the lane in which their paycheck has them in. Men refuse to accept that, I'm a $50,000 earner. And there are things that my money can't do. There are places that my money can't take me. There are women that my money can't afford. And that's okay. But the problem is, here's the problem, gentlemen, is you want to go somewhere or you
Here's the thing, real fast, real fast. I want to further define. There's women that my money can't afford. That line. I really want to define that before we go further. And not that she was wrong. I'm not saying she's wrong or anything. I think she's actually, because I've seen her before. After she started talking, I recognize her, and she's usually pretty spot on. I like her. But the statement, the money that you can't afford a certain woman, right? Now, to be very clear, to be very clear, women by themselves are worthless. Okay, let's just be completely blunt and honest. Every woman by herself in the world, the vast majority of women, if you pick them up, flew them somewhere and dropped them off randomly in another country, city, state, something like that, and it was just her and she had to survive. Okay, let's use another example. Let's say if nobody could see anything, we can talk to all we can do is text message each other. Women are completely worthless. The only thing that gives women any value is that men want to fuck them, right? One, no woman is worth money. Period. Okay, by herself, just sitting there standing. No woman is worth. Now, the reality of the statement, you can't afford a woman. Okay. So where does woman get this situation that she's expensive or something like that? Okay. It's not her. It's never, see, the woman by herself is essentially worthless, right? What makes where women get this idea that she's expensive or she deserves more is because of the family she was born into, or somebody else came before you and gave her something. And that's where women get value from. Women very rarely go out in the world and develop themselves to be of actual value by themselves. Right? So to be very, and I'm not saying she was wrong or she was insinuating something sinister. I'm not saying that, but I just wanted to make that very clear. That's the reality. Because see, just as fast as you can find a Victoria Beckham in her prime or Angelina Jolie in her prime, you can go to fucking Ukraine and find some girl who looks just like that working at Starbucks, being impressed by a fucking what's that watch? I can't even think. Invicta. She'd be impressed by an Invicta watch. You know what I mean? So just because a woman's pretty doesn't mean that you can't afford her. All that's bullshit. See, women have no sense. I just want to make very clear before we continue. And I'm not saying she was inferring anything different, but what I want to make clear is that women have no value. They do not declare what is valuable. Okay, by themselves. Now, if a woman's pretty and let's say like Donald Trump comes along and then buys her something expensive, now that woman feels like she has the authority to say, hey, well, I deserve expensive shit because I had Donald Trump come over here, right? Or she thinks she can go get Donald Trump to do that, right? But woman, and if you take any of those women and you leave them alone, put them by themselves, and leave them alone in the world to survive, she is going to base her value based off of what attention she gets from men. Now, the bad side about it is social media sped all that up, right? And this is a thing that gets said all the time. Women have confused do thousands of men wanting random booty calls with her being valuable. She's not valuable. Women are not valuable. And I hate this because it sounds like fucked up, but it's just the reality.
You want someone that, is out of your pay grade. And for some of y'all, that's financial. But for some of y'all, it's looks, it's height, it's fitness. Like, can we be real? I'm the first person to say, if you are a 55, 56, 57-year-old man, you got a 9-month pregnant belly, you are, scraggly, what I call scraggly, and this is a lot of the older gentlemen at the gym, they're scraggly, okay? And it's not even about your hairline receding for me, it's not, no, but it's you scraggly. Your hygiene is not on point. Your teeth. Can we talk about your teeth? You have not been to the dentist, and I don't know when. You have not kept up
Okay,
with your
now
teeth
this
and
is
your mouth.
yeah. Now this is painting the whole.
So, you know, if you my age and you're a gentleman, and you are the gentleman that I just described, like, no.
Okay, so now let's be very clear. Okay, now that whole last part told me exactly where she is in life. Okay, again, I think she's usually right. She's right, but this is where this woman is. Okay, now let's be clear. Let's be very clear about, again, women's value, right? Let's be very clear. Woman's value, anything about a woman's value or confidence is literally based off of what she was lucky enough to be given in life. It's not anything, she didn't build any of this shit. Let's be very clear. Now, with that last rant, right? With that last rant about the old man in the gym who's got a beer belly, who has bad hygiene and all this. See, now with that rant, that exact rant, do you think Melania Trump would ever even have that in her head to say out loud? You see, you get my drift. Would Beyonce even know? How many of these men do you think Beyonce comes across, or Melania Trump, or Dua Lipa, or some shit like that, right? Or just a certain class of woman? How many times do you think these women would even have that? You see what I'm saying? That in depth shit. Like she comes across these men. You see what I'm saying? Herself is in a lower class of woman if she's still coming around these guys. Right? You see what I'm saying? Look, I'm walking around Prague, dude. Like, it's hard to even find a woman who's not attractive in some way, right? I mean, it happens, but it's not common. Unless I mean, like, and, you know, they're probably older, but that whole rant completely described the class of people that she's in. See, you see, here's the thing. You can tell the class a woman is in based off of the complaints she has about the men. You can always tell the class of woman that she's really in. Because she doesn't know where the better guys are. You see what I'm saying? Or if she does, she's in and out of those worlds. She can't stay in these worlds. You see, there was another woman, I can't remember who she was, and she was talking about it was a general, you know, these women who complain, oh, they were wanting, any woman who claims she wants, you know, that buzzword, a high value man. See, the women who have to go out there and say it is because they don't know where these high value men are, because they're not invited in those circles. That means that she's around low value men because she's low value. For one reason. See, there's a reason why that Ferrari's not selling. It's not a coincidence. There's a reason why some of those Ferraris are rental cars. Might be an expensive rental car, but it's a rental car. And there's a reason why some of those Ferraris are bought, owned, and taken care of. Now, there's some that fall through the cracks. There's some Ferraris that get bought that are pieces of shit. And there's a fool that'll just, you know, fix up the lemon. It happens too, and there's some good ones who just didn't sell because, you know, just bad luck. But generally speaking, there's a reason why that Ferrari is not. See, there's a reason why one Ferrari is complaining about fat old men farting in it, right? There's a reason why that Ferrari is complaining, and the other Ferrari don't even smell nothing but cologne. Good quality cologne on top of that. See, the other Ferrari, that man will get into that other Ferrari with the same drawers he had on for 2 days, but his drawers still smell like cologne. And but this Ferrari is walking around with that other quality of dude, right? See, there's a reason why that happens. That's not by accident. Most cases it happens, but generally it's not. That woman single-handedly, she literally exposed herself by her class of woman and didn't even realize she did it. Now, again, I'm not saying she doesn't come across good quality men, right? But you can always tell the quality that she is based off of her complaints about men that she has. That's the quality that she is, for one reason or another. Now, again, I think I've seen her before, and she does say real shit. I'm not like bashing her or anything, but that's how it works in reality.
Anita is not, no, no. Anita did not put in all this work for that to be my reward.
Yep.
Okay? Yep. I put in a lot of work. I put in a lot of work to look like this. I put in a lot of work in the gym.
Yeah.
I make sure. See the teeth? Got all. Look, got all the teeth. Yeah. I have not lost any teeth.
Yeah.
Okay? The teeth are straight. The teeth are white. The teeth are clean. The teeth are flossed. All right? And, I put that work in at the gym. There's certain things I don't eat. There's certain places I don't go to eat. Okay? I'm seeing my doctor regular. My hygiene is right and tight. Okay? I'm working on getting my booty a little bit rounder. I don't need it to get bigger. I just need to get rounder. That's what I'm working on. Round. Okay?
And here's the thing. See now with a guy like me, if she were to tell me that, I would say, well, congratulations, you figured out how to not get fat and take a bath. For a guy like me, that's my response to that. Congratulations. You know how to, you can take some control of what you put in your mouth, and you can figure out how to combine soap and water. That's not something that's not a cause for celebration. Okay, let's just be real about it. It's not a cause that's not worth a celebration. That's not something to brag about, that you took a fucking bath and you go to a gym and you brush your teeth. Okay, I'm not impressed. Let's be real. I mean, but again, see, this tells you the class of woman that she's in. This tells you, the fact that this is something to elaborate on, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, that she has to completely elaborate on this, that she has all her teeth. Is she's telling on herself. It doesn't even realize she's doing it. It's like, congratulations. You learn how to take a bath. Like, I don't know what else to really do. I don't know what else to tell you. Is time to, should we celebrate? Should I, take you out? Should I take you out for an expensive dinner because you figured out how to take a bath? Like, I'm not. What are you supposed to say to that, right? So it's like, I don't even want to hang out. I don't say she'd probably be cool to hang out with, but I won't say I don't want to hang out with her. But in terms of trying to find a woman in my life, that's not something to, because she's going on. Okay, the only person who would actually hear these things and be happy about them are men who don't take baths, right? Which is that's the men she's hanging around, right? Those are only men who would be like, wow, this bitch took a fucking bath. She fucking took a bath and she brushed her fucking teeth. That bitch, she's a fucking goddess, dude. Are you fucking serious? Like, oh my God, my mind is blown. She is of a relatively healthy weight and took a bath. My mind is completely blown. I'm impressed. You know what? Can I take you out for dinner because you were just a qualified adult human? Women's requirements and complaints are usually so hilariously pathetic. It's usually so bad. because okay, where I go work at, right? Because I go teach English at these banks, right? And I went to a bank today. I went to Cashapp. That's how I pronounce it in Czech, but we would say CSOB. I actually showed you. This is the bank, the corporate bank, but I'll just show you like the regular. This is the bank I go to teach English. In the corporate building, not like those little like regular like bank teller banks, but I'm in the corporate building in these banks, and I teach English, right? And I was telling a friend of mine when I go there, like it's just porn. When you walk in there, it's just porn. Like all the women, because I mean, we're in Prague, we're in a big city, in a city in Europe, in the heart of Europe. It's just walking porn. Like all the women in there are like tight tone, dressed like they got style sense. Like it's just walking porn. It's like literally a walking porn set when I walk into this goddamn bank. Right? Right. So let's be and see and the reason I bring it up is because see like when these American women come to places like this, they usually hate it. They don't like it because they have to compete with the women here, and they usually look for the first plane out of here when they get here. That's a big thing among women, especially American Western women. When they come to like places where there's attractive women, oh, they hate it, and they're looking for they don't want to go out anywhere, or they just want to wear sunglasses and disappear behind their sunglasses because the women are just attractive everywhere around them, and they usually want to head back as soon as possible. She's an '88 Toyota Camry with no check engine light. Yeah, well, yeah.
But no, I'm not doing all this at my age to be rewarded with pop-pop. Okay? To scraggly and unkempt and not fit and your mouth is jacked up, right? You're ashy, no. Okay? So when men say, yeah, I don't get it. You're an amazing woman. Why aren't you? No. Because pop, okay, grandpa, or the uncles that I don't want, like, nah.
Yeah.
I want, in some regards, a man, and he don't have to be pretty now. This is the thing that I've come to realize. I'm not looking for the pretty man anymore. I love a pretty man. I love me a fine man, okay? But I'm not looking for that no more. I'm done with that. I'm done with the pretty men. But you have to be fit and healthy. You have to maintain what God gave you. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I am not a 10. I'm not a 9. I'm not an 8. I'm a strong 6, maybe a 7 on a good day. So I'm maintaining what God gave me. I'm doing the best with what God gave me naturally. I'm not going out. I'm not enhancing anything. I'm not getting any surgeries. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just taking care of what God gave me when I was born. That's what I'm doing. That's it. And I'm looking for that same thing in a man, okay? That you have to love and care about yourself. You have to keep yourself up, and you have to love and care about yourself. So that's a big part of it. And I'm finding out that a lot of men, there's like a self-esteem issue when it comes to this. They really don't love and care about themselves like they say they do. So love and care for yourself. Take care of yourself. Okay? So I stay on that 6/7. I may go up to a 7.5 because I am a hypergamous woman, or a 6.5.
Well, here's the thing. I truly think that she's a good looking woman. I think she's a good looking woman. I would give her higher than a 7. I think what would take her down. I don't even know if I were to know her in real life. This is just YouTube, but based off this video, like there's nothing about her that's attractive. I mean, she's physically attractive, but outside of that, there's no sense of elegance, and that's one thing that European women do get much better is the sense of elegance, right? Because they won't have the most like curvaceous bodies or anything, but they will have a sense of elegance far more than American women will. Well, I'd say central to Eastern Europe, they'll have more. Usually, they'll have a much better sense of elegance. Now, German women are pretty much like American women. They're just like fucked up. I mean, you'll find an attractive one here or there, but they're a bit more butch. And from my experiences in Germany, they were a bit more butch. Um, like Western Europe still is turn is more like American women, but like where I am in East is you get feminine. But back to her, I think she's a pretty one. I think she's a good looking woman. I Here's the thing. My honest assessment of her is since she was stuck in being in that class a woman, and she was probably already a little, a little butch to start out with, at least a little bit. I'm not saying she's a manly woman, but she probably wasn't super feminine to start out with. And she fucked around and got stuck in that class a woman. So, so the guys who were successful, the guys who were taking care of themselves, the guys who were going off and getting education and getting good jobs, right, had options in life, they were going. I mean, she was always cool, but most guys are going to want something a little more feminine. So she got left behind. If I had to assume, this is what happened. So in that being left behind, she grew more low key bitter about it, angry about it, voice voicing her opinion more about it, and is fighting to being left behind with taking control of her body to maintain it, to decent levels for a man. When and again, I think her, just from what I can see and tell, her arms, her upper body looks healthy. But what's going to take her down is just her, what she's turned into outside of just a silhouette. That's what's going to take her down. She said she was a solid 6, almost deleted. I think she's a good looking girl.
But I don't go up to 10. I don't go up to 9. I don't go up to 8. Okay? Because that is my lane. I had a guy friend of mine make fun of one of my exes. Oh, he's beneath you and this and that, and he's not attractive, he's beneath you, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, he was just going in. I said, bruh, what are you talking about? I said, what are you talking about? I said, number one, I'm a woman. I'm not going after 10s. I'm not going after a man that's prettier than me. Number two, it's not just about what the person looks like. Like, come on, my self-esteem is higher than that. I'm not so shallow that I actually can we be really real? I'm not so shallow that I care about what y'all think about who I'm dating. Okay, I really don't. I don't care about what y'all think. I don't care about what y'all feel, So I was like, sir, get yourself together. You're not making anybody feel bad. I don't care what you think. All right? That's the first thing. You care because he was constantly talking about the women that he was dating and how they looked and what he liked and asking me what I thought about it. I said, you care about that.
And this is where I started out the stream, was when women start getting older and it's always, and they still talking about relationships, and it's like a major thing, you know what I mean? Like, in a kind of way. Like, this is rough. This is rough, man. It's rough. It's rough. Like at 25, this would be okay. At 45, 50, 55, however old she is, I don't know how old she is. I say I'd give her anywhere between 45 and 55. 45 and maybe even 60. She just aged well. I don't know. Any man who's of any value and that's any man who has any sense of value or like, personal characteristics within him, like that are good any kind of way, is not going to want to look. Men grow out of this shit around 35. Most men will. We just grow out of this shit, and it's just not attractive anymore. I don't care what she looks like. It's just not attractive anymore. All them men left her alone. All the men that she really wants and left her alone, because this is childish shit. It's still worrying about the other people, worrying about who you date. If as a grown ass, this is childish. It's kiddie shit, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kiddie shit. And I play video games, and I would happily pass on this. Because me and we was talking too about because I was telling her, because we know these other groups of friends that we don't talk to, because all of them they still do that, like they still running around and cheating on each other and doing this, and they're all like 35, 40 and all this, right? And I was telling her I know a couple who's like 60 years old and they still running around doing all that, right? It's a certain mentality of people who's like that. At some point, you just get too old for that. And some people get it, some people never do, right? And we both know them. Because I knew these groups of people through my ex-wife, and she knows them through one of her friends. So we know, me and her, we know the same group of people. And they all still do it. Now, they still run around, who did what, why, how, who, what, and when, why, and where. They still doing all this shit, and they grown as hell, right? Cheating on each other, hooking up with somebody else, leaving somebody else with somebody else, doing all this jumping, not because things naturally fell apart, but just because like they keeping up with each other kind of thing, and it's annoying and disgusting. I'd rather just be alone and be in peace.
I don't care about that. I don't care about what anybody thinks about who I'm dating, what they look like, what they do. That's called none of y'all's business. So to me, that's an insecure person's game. That's, oh, this person don't look like this, or they don't look like your match, or they don't look as good as this. That's for insecure people. Okay? Those of us who are secure, those of us who have high self-esteem and high self-worth, we don't care what y'all think. We don't care. And look, this is what I told him too. He got real mad. I said, baby, I'm fine enough to bring him up. Okay? So even if he's a 4, okay, me being a 7 brings him up. Okay? How about that?
No. At your age, it doesn't. Don't work like that. At your age. Now, if you was 25, something like that, then yeah. Or if he's like 75, then yeah. But now at your age, you don't bring up any, no, it doesn't work like, okay, unless this woman was like really rich, or the man's like 75, then yeah, that works. But if the man is close to your age, and he's like a 4, and you're a self-proclaimed 7, you don't bring his value up. Because here's the thing, as we grow older, just being cute is not everything. If anything, it's a red flag for you to be the next nuisance in someone's life. Period. When you're younger, the cute girl is all the value, and she can't do nothing wrong. When you get older and you gain wisdom, the first red flag is the cute girl in the room. What did she get away with? Because she's cute. Who did she swindle, talk into, manipulate because she knows she's cute? That when you get older, that's the first red flag in the fucking room. And you're the first one is going to be gone, be fired, kicked out, whatever. You're the first one once you get older and you cute, because now we all know the game. It doesn't work. She bring up the guys. No, you don't. I'm be very clear, very blunt, and very honest. You do not bring up, if you're in the same age bracket or older than that man, you do not bring up his value. If he's a 4 and you're a 7, it doesn't work that way. Now the other way around, it would. If the guy's a 7 and you're a 4, yeah, it would bring up your value. But women are so confused because they're born into life with a value of being pursued of sex, and they never learn how to grow out of it. Very rarely they truly they learn to grow out of that position of being desirable, and it comes with age. The only man, okay, okay. The only man who would be a 4, let's say if a man was a 4 and she was a 9 or a 10, right? Let's say she was a 9 or a 10. The only man who would truly feel and think that would be a man who's like super pathetic. Cause she can go ask any man in her life. I told my spouse this a few days ago. And I want her, if she ever gets a clip of this, go ask any man that's your age in your life and say, which one is more valuable in your life right now? A set of sturdy paper bags or an attractive woman? Because I tell you right now, I told my spouse this. I said, those paper bags right now are more valuable than any woman in my life. These paper bags sitting under the kitchen. I said, you know why? Because I can sit those bags over there and they gonna shut the fuck up. They not gonna complain and they can carry shit and be useful when I need them. And not worried about emotional troubles and stress and fucking up other shit in life and needing to these bags don't need to be entertained. I'm talking regular old sturdy grocery bags. All right. See, that's when you know you've become a man. Is when you know thoroughly that stack full of crisp Walmart fucking bags are more valuable to you than a woman. And then you can name off the exact reasons why. That's when you know you become a man and you're ready in this shit. All right. And I want this woman to go ask that man that she was talking to, which one is more valuable, me or the paper bags in your closet? And I bet you he's gonna start laughing because he knows he don't say the bags. I bet you he just started laughing because he knows it. He knows the answer. He's just too afraid to tell you the reality. I told my spouse this like 2 days ago in the kitchen. Because here's the thing. Because I got 2 new sayings. One saying is Al Bundy. Like when I say some shit like that, and she'll go, what did you say? And then I do the Al Bundy. I say, you need a Q-tip? And I write my here. Let me show you that clip of Al Bundy. What he said, Bud goes, Al Bundy, he goes, I love that car more than anything I own. And then his son goes, well, Dad, we're sitting right here. And he goes, you need a Q-tip? Uh-oh, what'd I do? Yeah, this clip. So this is the clip I always say to her when I say some shit like that.
Way to bargain, Mars. I love that car more than anything that I have. Dad, what about us? You need a Q-tip?
So I always say that. And the other saying I got is from The Office, where Stanley. I say this to my son when he does something silly, and he start crying, or he does just something that he do something he know he ain't supposed to do. Like we be walking, and he just like feel like he gonna just jump out the baby stroller and go running somewhere, and I just say, "Boy, have you lost your mind? Cause I help you find it." And he knows, like he just does whatever he know he's supposed to be doing. So those are my 2 sayings. If she's watching, she knows exactly what I'm talking about, because those are my 2. And my 3rd is Ron Swanson from Parks and Recs, because I love Ron Swanson. Ron Swanson hates Europe. I said I hate Europe too. I think Europe's pathetic. So I think Europe's pathetic. But I'm gonna keep exploiting the laws until they change them. Whenever it comes to something like she think I care about somebody, I expect Ron Swanson, because Ron Swanson I sent her this scene on Facebook where the character Ron Swanson, he goes to see this girl in the hospital, and the girl says, "Hey, well, don't tell my boyfriend I don't want to see him because," and he goes, "Don't tell me." And then it cuts to an interview with Ron Swanson, and he goes, yeah, the best friend I ever had, I had him for 3 years. I never even knew his name. It's a great friendship. We still don't talk sometimes. It's perfection. So I just say Ron Swanson. Whenever she says something like I'm supposed to care about somebody's emotions, like Ron Swanson. No, I'm not gonna have another baby. I'm not doing that shit again. A woman just asked me in the elevator. I was speaking Czech with her. This woman, for some people, I can speak fluent Czech with, or my Czech, and have conversations with. And she asked me in the elevator. She asked me if I was gonna have another one, and I said no. Yenem. What is it? Shit, I can't think of. Yenem Yetna, which just means only one. Yenem means only, and Yetna is one. Let's go back to this.
And look, even the guy I dated said, yeah, I was constantly being approached by women and constantly being hit on when I was dating you. And since we broke up, ain't nobody checking for me. I'm like, well, I mean, like, I guess maybe you went back down to your level. I don't know. I don't know. But just understand that as a woman, I'm not looking for a 10 or a 9 or an 8. I'm not looking for the finest man out there. Okay, I don't need those problems. I've dated those men when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And again, it's a wonderful thing. It's great for your ego, but it's also a pain in the tail. Dating a man that other women want is a pain in the tail. Okay, it's a whole lot. I keep telling y'all that about fine men and about rich men. Y'all keep acting like, I don't want a fine man, I want a rich man. Baby, that's a whole nother level of problems for you. Anyway, getting back on track. Now on to the ladies. So the men, you're trying to obtain a woman that's outside of your pay grade, outside of your physical specification. There's no. Look at you, look at her. Look at you, look at her. No, and think about it. She's hypergamous. So in order for her to go up, you gotta go down. She gotta go down.
Okay? Look, she's too old to be talking like this, but look, my spouse knows where the door is, bro. Like, I don't care. See, this is when, she doesn't have any men in her life. She can't keep a man in her, probably. I'm willing to bet. Because she still thinks all this shit's important. She gets with a legit grown man. Look, I don't care to keep, I really don't care to keep a relationship going. Doesn't matter. There is no sense. Look, okay, with me and my spouse, and we talk about these things. Or me and other women I know. Like the friend of mine, she lives up in Chescalipa. I still talk to her. She bought me she bought me some beers about a month ago now. She came down. I ain't talked to her since. Just not even a real reason why. I just didn't talk to her since. See, when men grow up and become men, like for real men, like, we don't care. All right? Men who have options in the world don't care about you. See, it's not because the men was pretty and anything you did was being done to fend off other women. Look, what's this woman's name? Better Love Movement, whatever her name is. I think it's because it's over there on the right. But look, it had nothing to do with you. Whatever man you had, you was just lucky enough to keep him for a little while, for whatever reason was. Maybe he was just too tired to go talk to another woman or whatever the fuck. But you were nothing special. All right? Like, women got to get this shit. See, you was special when you was 23. Because you were, like Patrice O'Neal said, you was 20. But Patrice said, I will wait for some 20-year-old pussy. Grown men don't care about it. No, like, you're not that important anymore. We got other things we like to do. We got a job. We got personal hobbies. We got, We'd rather go paint a picture or remove a carburetor or some shit like that. I mean, polish my gun holster or some shit like that. I mean, I'd rather do some other shit because at least the gun holster's not gonna come around bringing random problems, and now I got the. You know what I mean? Now putting pressure on me to show up for a dinner next week and all this shit. Like, no, like it doesn't. See, that's how you know a man has become a full grown at because I could take you or leave you, and I don't really care either way. My spouse knows, like, I don't like. Okay, cool. Like, I don't have to talk to you for weeks at a time. I don't have to talk to you ever again for real. It is what it is. What it is. Like, it is what it is. And women have this weird delusion that like something they did actually, you know what I mean? Like Jesus Christ. You know what I did a few days ago? I was walking with my son, right? And I didn't even think about this shit. Because I was just walking around. Because I'll tell you guys a story. So, okay, for those of you who don't, if anybody new is here, I live in Prague. So I was walking with my son in a baby stroller. Right? I'm still using the baby stroller because I got a fucked up back and he's still bad. So if I end up too far away and he acts like he doesn't want to walk, then I got to carry him sometimes. And my back is just fucked up from the military. So like I just cannot hold him. I can't pick him up for long. So I still use a baby stroller for health reasons for me. And I was walking. I was gonna go to the bathroom in this mall, in this smaller mall, right? And this woman comes up behind this like probably like 30-year-old. I thought she was Spanish because she comes up and she was a cute girl, woman, and she asked me, she's Bagnon. I said, oh, we gotta go. I'm going there too. I'm going upstairs with him. And she goes, oh, yeah, I speak English. So I said, so what, you Spanish? And she goes, no, I'm Italian. I said, oh, his mom lived in Italy for like 10 years. And she goes, oh, yeah, because them Italians, they get real fucking friendly real fast, right? So, like, and so I said, yeah, here, let me just call her real fast, right? So I called her. I said, hey, I'm talking to this woman. She's from Italy, and she asked me where you was from, but I can never remember the village that you was living in. So here, talk to her real fast. And we was standing in the middle of the mall. I said, here. And I just gave the woman my phone and was talking to her. And they start talking, and they start speaking in Italian to each other, right? And no joke. Well, okay, no. First, let me say this. They were speaking in Italian to each other. And I almost asked her, but I'll tell you why I didn't ask her. I almost asked, I said, excuse me. I was going to say, do you know Ezio Auditore? Because you sound just like Ezio Auditore, right? From Assassin's Creed. But my son had just got up and he was eating some salami and he like threw the salami on the floor. He got up and ran, so I had to go get him and put him back in the baby stroller, right? Because the funny part was because me and my spouse, because guys, I went back and played through all the Assassin's Creeds. Well, not all of them, most of the earlier ones. And because she grew up, his mom could speak fluent Italian, and because she grew up in Liguria or something like that in Italy, she was in, and so when I would play Assassin's Creed, I would say, hey, I had the headphones on. Hey, does he sound Italian? And or I'd be playing, I say, hey, what does blah, 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 blah mean? And she goes, oh, it means like he's bleeding out or something like that. So, so when she heard Ezio Auditore speak, she said, oh yeah, no, that sounds like somebody trying to sound like they're Italian. Right? I mean, I don't know because I don't speak Italian. I never lived in Italy, so I don't know. But she heard Ezio Auditore speak I let her hear part 1, part 2, and part 3 when he was older. And she said all of them sounded like somebody they sound like an actor trying to pretend to be Italian. But when I heard that woman speaking Italian, she sounded just like Ezio Auditore. Like, exactly like him. You know what I think? The Gloria. I had to get to the Gloria. Like, you know, they're almost like a Russian mixed with Italian kind of sound. Gloria. Like, I do not know where to go, but I must go to the bathroom. very quickly, like Dracula mixed with Russian mixed with Italian kind of thing. Right? Like the count, like she sound like an Italian count, like what? That's what she sound like, right? Just like that motherfucker. But anyway, I kept walking around, and I was bored. I said, you know what? Today's the day. I'm gonna go hop on a random train with my son, and he was asleep. And I'm just gonna hop on a random train and just go somewhere randomly out of Prague. I don't even know where I'm going, right? Because they're not gonna speak English outside of Prague. It's not gonna be common. I'm just gonna, because I would do it by myself, but I never did it with him. So I said this time I'm just gonna go to the train station and just catch a random train to go outside of Prague. And it's wherever I end up, that's where I end up. And so on the way, I bumped into this other African American. He's from Texas. And I figured he was a tourist, but he said he actually lives not far from me. And all the rants that I go on YouTube, he was giving me all this shit about how, Europeans are a certain way, and like in Czech Republic, like they walk like they're like they walk like cavemen, in which they do. Like they can't see it, but they have no sense of spatial awareness. Like they're like consistently rude, and they don't even know they're rude, kind of thing. Like everything that I say on here, he was saying everything, like going on rants, like a tangent to me about it. Like while my son, he was asleep in the stroller at this point, and we were walking to the train station. We talked for a good while. His name's Brian, and his girl's Slovakian. His spouse is Slovakian. But then I got on a train, and I went to Český Brod. And I figured, just by the sound of it, I thought it was going to be real nice. And it was like, it wasn't what I was just thinking it was going to be. And just me and my son out in a random middle area of Czech Republic with my shitty Czech, and he still doesn't talk yet. So we just figure it out. But we had a good time. And I just be thinking, like when I do shit like that, right? Like I like thinking back, like I literally wake up with more courage to do shit than most people. It's definitely anybody I grew up with that's still back home in the US. Like think about how much courage it would take. Now I'm bragging, but think about how much courage or how crazy you'd have to be to go out in the middle of nowhere where you can't speak the language with a small kid, right? And just, as an American, that's wild shit. As a European, it's probably not so, crazy. But as an American, that's like mind-blowing level shit. But yeah, Český Brod wasn't great. Yeah. But yeah, that Italian girl sounded just like Count Dracula. Mixed with, no, she's just like the Count mixed with Dracula and Ezio Auditore. That's how she was. And then she started going off about something in Italian. She's like, oh, just like it. Every time I met an Italian person in Prague, they were always like the complete opposite of Czech people. Like they were always, and here they were always very open. And this is the main reason. This is another reason why I didn't want to start a school here, is because I didn't want too much of that Czech shit getting into me. Because when I do bump into Italian people here, like I can tell, like they're definitely more open and more willing to speak and talk. Pretty much once you leave Czech Republic is just a weird, fucked up mentality, to be honest. But I can see that they're being damaged just by being here a little bit of time, because how Czechs are. Like Czechs are very cold. They don't talk, they're just very cold and robotic, and keep their head down. They'll bump into you, not say excuse me. They're just very rude, and they don't even know. They don't get it because it's just how they are. Like they just don't get it. They don't see it, right? And I can see it when I see the Italian person, and I'll think back, and you can see like they're slowly being like their humanity is being destroyed by living here, by being here, even on vacation. Like it's destroying their joy for humanity kind of thing. But the awkward part about Czechs is like once they like if they do talk to you, then they'll just love you after that. Like it's like either it's complete binary. It's like 1 or 0. Like it's a light switch. Either they're on or they're off. There's no casual talk with them. But yeah, let's see more of this video. I think that's about it.
Right? So in order for her to go up, she got to go down in terms of she got to be a 4 if you're a 5 or a 5.5. She got to be a 4. Okay? That's what's not making sense to y'all. Y'all want to go up and you're a 5. No, you actually got to go down. Okay? Because she's hypergamous. On to the women. Now this gonna step on some toes. As I've said many times on here, how you feel about it, but most women rate themselves far higher than they really are. Far higher.
Yeah.
You all think that because of the standard issue vagina that you have, that makes you a 10. That to a heterosexual man, your vagina makes you a 10. That's what makes you a 10, is you have a vagina. And he's a heterosexual man who wants to have sex with you. But
well, no, yeah, see, that's the confusion. No, that doesn't make.
Day in 2025, it don't work that way no more. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, young ladies. It don't work that way no more. Because now, these men seem to think, because of pornography, because of OnlyFans, because of social media, they seem to think they have all these different options. They seem to think that the baddie on Instagram, is an option for them. Or the woman they're jerking off to on porn is an option for them. They don't know that that's not the case, but they are deluded in their mind.
Again, this is the class of people she's in. Okay. This is the class of people she's in. Okay. Now if she was in my class of people, right, she would know that, dude, like the porn star. Okay, you know how many times I've jacked off the porn and I was in the middle of jacking off the porn and I would see a girl that I've either had sex with or I've seen her at a brothel somewhere and could have sex with her if I wanted to. Like I'm talking like mid-stroke. I'm like, wait, I'm going, wait, I know her. What's her porn name? And I go Google her name. Oh shit, that's what's it called? Yeah. I live in Prague, dude. If you go on Pornhub and type in Prague brothels, I guarantee you. I remember one time I was watching porn one time, and it was like something. It was named like Prague Dream or Europe Dream or something like that, and they were going down this. It's like this black stairwell in the dark that goes all the way down, and I know exactly where that's at because I walked down those stairs. I forget the name of the bra. I think it was called like. I don't want to say it was Darling because Darling Cabaret. That's by Wenceslas Square. That's off, and I've walked past her, but I've never been in Darling. I can't remember the name of that other because the reason why I went in that brothel is because a female friend of mine. I used to work with her at another job, and she was working at a bar around the corner from that brothel. And we would just smoke weed and drink the whole night. And she would call all the people she knew, and a lot of guys, because she was from Ipswich. She was from Ipswich, something like that. She was from Ipswich, something like that. And so she knew a lot of people from the UK. So she would call them all down there, and we would all just hang out. And so one time, I came down there and because we were all friends, and so one night we were, and I'm not a good smoker, so I got way too high one night and drinking, and they wanted to keep running around the city, and I'm just like done, and I tried to drive home, and I got in the car and I said, look, I'm too fucked up to drive, so I didn't drive, and I walked around looking for some place to sit down, and the only place that was open was that brothel. So I went in there and I went downstairs to just get the weed to wear off and all that. And I ended up seeing a girl in there working behind a bar that I knew. She was always cool. So we ended up talking for like 20, 30 minutes. And then, so by this point it was like 2 a.m. or something like that. And then I was okay. No. After that, I think I met back up with them Because there was this African girl that was crazy about me. Like she just kept following me around and hitting me. She just wanted me to keep talking to her. And I stayed out till like 8 a.m. and then drove back to Chiscalipa. It was daylight again by the time I started driving. Why are you in Prague? From Florida? Word. I bet Florida's pretty great right now. Why are you in Prague? I got a baby in Prague. So I'm chilling. Well, yeah, back to what she said. She said, a vagina makes a woman a 10. Doesn't make a woman a 10. And this is what women have no sense of value. Like, absolutely none. The only reason women have any slight sense of value is because men said something's valuable. Right? Women have no sense of value. It's real quick. I was thinking about VR porn again because I'm gonna get I want to get a better headset because there's a lot of VR games I want to play, and of course the first thing that comes up is VR porn, right? And I've already tried VR porn. The weird part, okay, the reason why VR porn doesn't hit well for me, it might be better for for other guys. The reason why VR porn doesn't hit well for me is because I've already had sex with women who look like those women in porn or better. Because again, living in Prague, where it's probably filmed at. So for me, it was something different to see that view and all that. But I've already had sex with those quality with that quality of woman, so it's nothing special. It's just nothing special. Just regular basic sex with like a woman in VR porn. It doesn't do anything for me because I've already had sex with that here. I've already experienced it. So you know what I mean. It's like I don't know. It's like I don't know. Riding a VR roller coaster after you've already ridden the real roller coaster. Like you have no interest in riding a VR roller coaster because you know what a real roller coaster feels like, right? And you've already done it, and if anything, you're probably tired of the roller coaster by now, right? Like it's like that kind of thing. So I want to get a headset. But oh yeah, back to just because a woman has a vagina, it makes her a 10. Absolutely not. In a woman's mind, she can become a 10 because she just gets attention. Now, from a woman's perspective, I can see how that can make sense because women just perceive attention as making them a 10, right? Especially if it's from the right kind of guy. That's what, in her mind, that's what makes her a 10. So, like, for example, like this woman right here, let's say women only know value based off of what men deem as valuable. Women have no sense of value, whether it comes to their own clothes, jewelry, gold, diamonds, anything. Women do not set a price of value. Woman's job is to sit around and wait for men to assign prices to diamonds, clothes, high heels, pants, boots, shirts, hair, and then the women go, yeah, that's what I am, because men said it's valuable, kind of thing. Women do not go out there and set the prices for diamonds. Men set the prices for diamonds and make it seem valuable, so women want to put their identity in what they think is valuable. Women do not make anything valuable. They don't sit, they have no understanding of it. It's outside of what men say is valuable, right? So in a woman's mind, like again, let's say for any woman on earth, right? Any woman on earth, if she was getting attention, constant attention from rich billionaires with yachts, then she would think she's a 10. Right? And probably wouldn't even question it. Right? Especially if you took away social media and all this, and if the woman didn't know, she would think she was a 10. See, that's another reason why. This is another way how she exposed her position in life, right? Because she's only getting it. This woman is not getting attention from 10s. She's getting attention from 4s, 5s, and 6s. So now she thinks she's a what you say, a 5 to a 7 or something like that, because that's the attention that she's getting. Now, if next week she started getting attention from higher echelon guys, and she go, oh, maybe I went up. Maybe it's those new workouts I was doing. Maybe I went up to a 10. I don't know, right? It'd be that. She doesn't make woman does not define value. Men define value, and then women try to latch on to the value for survival. Yeah. It's rough, man. It's just so depressing because women are just universally confused. Like they're just like I said, see, women are just universally chasing whatever is the popular thing. Like I said, when I took my spouse to that castle in at the square, right? And I explained to her back then there was two statues. One statue was a woman wearing a dress and hair, and it was like a dress and hair from like the 16th 17th century kind of thing, right? 17th 18th century kind of thing, right? And the male statue was a man with that potbelly armor on, right? And you'd say he was classy though. He had the heels and you know what I mean, and the pointed shoes, but he had that potbelly armor, right? Now, and I explained to her in the museum, men always just men know what's valuable. You could take that woman statue and walk her down that street right now, and some man there would be men lined up wanting to fuck that woman. Right? Even though that dress doesn't look right now. Like it still looks a little weird. If you were to take that woman in that dress, it would look a little weird, but any man would fuck that woman. Right? Any man would want to take her out, want to talk to her, all that, right? Now, on the flip side, that man from the 17th, 18th century with that potbelly armor, with that potbelly in his armor kind of thing, see, he can't walk around looking like that now and get pussy. But back then he could, but he can't do that now, right? The point I'm trying to make is, see, women just jump to whatever's popular at the time. Whatever is in that time period, that's what's valuable. The other example I like to use is time machines and using like Donald Trump, Elon Musk, these kind of things, right? Let's use any celebrity. I don't know. Any celebrity, right? See, the men of now who are popular and rich, all the men that are rich and famous and popular now, if you take them back to the year like 200,000 BC, those men will be completely worthless because they have no ability to hunt anything like that, right? They couldn't keep up with a Neanderthal. Elon Musk could not. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, whoever the fuck, I don't. What's the dude? Amazon, Jeff Bezos. He could not keep up with the worst caveman back in them days. Right? He just wouldn't know how to do, and he would be a worthless human. No woman would want Jeff Bezos. That's back in them years, right? Now, if you take this woman and put her back 200,000 years, she's still a woman. She can fuck. She would be of equal or of higher value. She would still be because it's the benefit of being woman. And men know what they want. They just want woman. All the other stuff, they'll say, oh, her hair looks a little weird and all that, but they still fuck her because she's just physically a woman. Men define woman as valuable. Woman by herself is not valuable. If you take this woman and take her back 200,000 years and put her in the middle of a jungle, she's completely useless. Right? Completely goddamn useless. But I hope that it explains the point I'm trying to make is that, see, what women deem as desirable flips depending on on what's trending that week, month, year, decade, century. Women just follow whatever's valuable. They just follow whatever man has deemed valuable now. That's where they're gonna go. Well, do men like this now? Well, we like that. Do men like with video games? After it became clear that rich and famous people play video games, you can make a lot of money playing video games. Now women are getting more open about playing video games. Now they're Twitch streaming and shit now. They either get simps or because now it's okay to play video games, right? But before it was okay. Oh, you couldn't find a woman to play a video game. It's just how it is. It's how it is.
So now, ladies, you having a vagina is not going to do it.
Well, yeah, back to the vagina makes you a 10. Yeah, no. In a woman's mind, it makes her a 10, but no, no.
You have to take care of yourself. You have to be fit. You have to look. I present for the man that I am interested in attracting. And somebody out there needs to hear that. So for the man that I want to attract, I actually listen to what it is he wants. I don't just go out in the world just like, ooh, I just, I want to do this. Like, yeah, does it make me feel good? Sure. Okay, it does make me feel good to be 135 pounds. It does make me feel good to be fit, to be strong, to have, muscle mass. That does make me feel good. It does make me feel good for my hair to look nice and my makeup to look nice, right? And my skin to be clear. That does make me feel good, right? All those things are part of my healthy self-esteem and my healthy self-worth. Yes, it does. But let's go here. This is the part that here we go. Somebody's going to say, oh, you're being a pick-me, you're a pick-me-sha, and all this other crap. And you just going to get your comment blocked. You just going to get blocked. Your comment's just going to get deleted. So don't drop down and say that. But I'm smart. See, that's the difference between me and you. I'm smart. I actually make sure that I look the way the type of man I wants me to look. Okay? So someone who may be a little more creative, a little more artsy, a little more edgy, someone who appreciates fitness and health, someone who loves a beautiful smile, someone who likes an intellect, a sexy nerd, someone who appreciates someone who's well-read, and someone who's fiscally responsible, and all the, they enjoy that. They enjoy someone who dresses modestly, but yet they can still see, okay, this woman has shape, this woman has figure, but she's dressed modestly. Everybody isn't gazing upon her naked body. Like, I am dressing and preparing for the man that I want to attract. And
So it's not her, though. You see what I'm saying? Like, none of this is her. None of this is her. She's doing it for a man she wants. This woman this is a grown ass woman with gray hair, and she's still reading because she fears a man wants a woman who reads. She's bathing because a man wants a woman who bathes. She's brushing her teeth because a man wants a woman who brushes her. That's what. I don't even know what to say to that. I don't know what to say to that. She's brushing her teeth because a man wants a woman who brushes her teeth. This is shit that guys have to learn how to grow out of when they're like 23. So let's recap that whole last part. She's literally the only reason why she's physically healthy, uses soap and water, brushes her teeth, and I'm guessing educating, because we don't know what she's reading. She's probably reading a love novel. I don't know what she's reading. The only reason she's doing is because of this dream man that she's invented in her head. That she don't even know. Who wants this? This is sad. It's sad. I think it's sad. That's sad. I'm gonna end it all right there. That's sad. That is. I'm looking at Charles University because I've always wanted to study botany, and now I think I may actually finally have a legitimate time to do it for it. I'm actually doing another master's, right? I'm doing this because I want to do these things. I don't. I told oh, here's the thing. I told my spouse. I said, look, school. This master's degree is definitely going to happen, and I spelled it out for her in the kitchen. I said, look, if I had to pick between you and a master's, I'm picking a master's degree because this master's degree will get another one of you if it has to come to that. But you don't get another master's degree. You see, I want to do the master's degree, and we'll rearrange everything around that. Right? I'm not afraid of losing you because I want to go, do a project or study something. Like this ain't got nothing to do with keeping her or really getting another woman. I'm doing these things because I want to do. That has nothing to do. See, this is why she can't keep no real man around her, because she's doing all for the wrong reasons. See, yeah, this is why she's in this position. She's doing it for all the wrong reasons. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. And she's older now. Like, see, look, but by the time people get older and they're still on that, see, like I said earlier, any man who's about something with his life, who is seriously engaged with his own life, right? He has, like, when he goes to sleep, he looks forward to waking up to being in his own life, and he has his own shit together. He ain't messing with a woman like that. That woman is a nuisance. That woman requires entertainment, like a child. She just looks a little classier when she's, going about it, but it's the same thing. That is a nuisance. Because none of that shit's real. None of that's making any sense. None of that is. Now, there are women out there who are genuinely into being a pharmacist. I met them before. There are women who are out there who are genuinely into that stuff, right? But it all really falls apart when they start talking like this. Like, none of that's her. So, like, for example, the girlfriend I had, the real pretty girlfriend I had when I was in college in the U.S. She was kind of like this woman here, right? And okay, let's just hypothetically say I was dating this woman. I already know. Look, the reason why I would never date a woman like her, because I know how it would turn out. How it would turn out because I've already experienced this situation before. A woman like her grows to become envious of the man. All women do at some point because a man's always going to be better than her. But she's going to become even more envious because, well, I won't even say envious because she never even had anything. She's jealous. Wait, I always get confused. Envy is when you're jealous of what's. Envy is when you're mad about that somebody has something that you don't. Jealous is when you don't have. I always forget the difference between envy and jealousy. Let's look it up real fast. Okay, this is right. Yeah, yeah. She's going to grow to become jealous of the man because she'll grow to become jealous of me because I genuinely enjoy taking baths and being educated. right? Even though I'll fuck up sometimes, I genuinely enjoy my life. It's not, and I'm not doing it for somebody. Okay. I will miss out on appointments I should have really kept because I just get so caught up in what I'm doing. I literally sat down and vomit because I was so into a book when I was outside. That's not an exaggeration. Because I was like, why is my foot sliding on the floor? And I looked down and it was like somebody had puked up a kebab because it was like those little purple onions on the floor. I literally sat down and vomit, right? Literally, because I was so into reading. It was a book that somebody who follows me on here, he gave me these. It was called like The Continuum or something like that. It was about babies and how they develop. And I was so into it, I sat down and vomit because I was just reading and walking, and I just sat down randomly, and I was sitting in puke. See, women like her will end up wanting to fight men like me, just because how women like her, she's this women like her are the type of women. I'm not gonna say her specifically, but women like her are the type of women who will burn up a PlayStation. Like if you play PlayStation and she's with you, she's the type, she will burn up your PlayStation. She'll put it in a trash compactor because she sees you, because you're genuinely happy with something, and she doesn't have that. She All her happiness comes from being what she thought you wanted, kind of thing, right? She's the type of woman who would set fire to a woodshed or something. You mean something like that, because she's mad because she's not getting your attention, and the fact that you are completely happy and comfortable without her attention. Because I've been through that. Now that girl, she never burned up anything, but it got to a point where she started getting like very weird and awkward, very weird. Have you heard about the Indian man who was accused of kidnapping? Yeah, I seen that. I sent that to my girl too. Yeah, because the woman said that they were pulling over the kid, but they had it all on video camera, and the dude never did any of that. He went around, he walked around the store and bought something and walked out, and they came and arrested the dude for like 30 days in jail. I seen that. Yeah. Oh, he's still in jail. I seen it because I sent it to my spouse. I seen it on Instagram, I think, and I sent it to her. They arrested, and it was some little white woman, some little cute white woman with two little kids, and that's all it takes in America. Just be a kind of attractive white woman and say somebody did something, they are immediately guilty. Right? That's all it takes in America. Come home to your clothes strewn out on the lawn for no reason. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. It's hard to find a woman with a true hobby, like on her own. It's really difficult to find a woman like who truly has her own hobby. It's very difficult to find that because they'll end up like her. Like, she has a hobby because she thinks a man likes the hobby. You see what I'm saying? The man that she wants likes the hobby. Is that most women are you typically like that? Most women are just doing whatever they think better men are doing in like. They don't have their own independent thought about anything. Or by the time they are independent, they're just so off that there's no room to be a partner with them at all. Like most women do not understand how to just sit down and just exist. Most women just seriously do not understand that. Like the ability to just sit down and just exist. Just exist sometimes. Don't have to be drama. You see what I'm saying? And then when you genuinely find something interesting, then go do whatever you think's interesting. Most they don't. It has to be one extreme or the other. Somebody has to do the entertaining, be entertained. Like they don't know how to sit down and just be, unless they're high or something like that. They have to be high. A woman's only hobby is shopping. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. It's 10:02. I let you guys go, man. I'll catch y'all later, man. I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna go eat some food and probably play another round of Project Cars 2. I'm doing the Formula C. I just went up to Formula C. I'm trying to get iRacing. I'm waiting on the guy to email me back because they had a deal with iRacing, and I don't think I ever heard anything back from him. But I just went up to Formula C racing and Project Cars 2, and it's like super hard to drive the car. But yeah, I let y'all go. Peace out.